Hi, I'm Anna, and on this week's adventure, you'll need to be careful, or you might get bitten. On July 12th of 1916, Lester Stillwell jumped off the Wyckoff dock with his friends and probably never once considered that his life was in danger. An old ship captain named Thomas Cottrell had been warning people not to go into the water that morning. Cottrell claimed to have seen an 8-foot shark swimming in Matawan Creek. If Lester had heard this, he probably thought Cottrell was crazy, just like everyone else did. Local artist Tattoo Bob wanted his tribute to be on the other side of these train tracks, closer to the spot where Lester and his friends were swimming. The tunnels on that side are square, though. This accident of fate was beneficial, as Bob's mural is now impossible to miss. Wyckoff Dock was more than a mile from where Matawan Creek empties into the ocean at Raritan Bay, and sharks were unheard of in fresh water. People had sharks on the brain that week. On July 1st and 6th, 2 people had been killed by sharks in separate incidents on the Jersey shore, but both were many miles away, and in the ocean. Swimming in the ocean had only recently become a popular pastime in the United States, and shark science was minimal. It was generally accepted that a shark did not have enough strength in its jaws to damage the human body, and many believed a shark needed to turn on its back to even be able to eat. There was no way there could be 2 different sharks big enough and strong enough to kill 2 young men in such a short amount of time. The tale of the rogue shark was already being woven when Lester Stillwell went swimming. Lester was 11 years old. He was probably only thinking about how hot it was that day. We were in the middle of a heat wave 107 years later when I headed into New Jersey to check out Tattoo Bob's mural. 2 monuments were erected in 2016 to commemorate the event that made the town famous. That is when Tattoo Bob began planning his mural. He tried several times during the day over the years, but it wasn't until 2020 that he realized what he must do. Bob stashed all his spray paints and a 20-foot ladder ahead of time. He calculated tides and train schedules and determined he had 35 minutes to paint between low tide at 3:40 a.m. and the next passing train. When Lester screamed and went underwater, his friends thought he had a seizure and ran for help. A crowd of people assembled on the shore. Stanley Fisher stripped off his clothes and plunged into the water. He was a young businessman that had come with his fiancée to see what all the fuss was about. Stanley found Lester's body almost immediately, but he had no idea he was not alone. Stanley was trying to steal food from an apex predator. A shark took a bite out of Stanley's leg, and he dropped Lester's body. Stanley was able to be pulled to shore, but died en route to the hospital. 30 minutes later, in another part of the stream, 14-year-old Thomas Dunn was also bitten in the leg, but rescued by his brother. Though his leg was amputated, Dunn was the only survivor of the Jersey Shore shark attacks of 1916. The story had already gone nationwide by the time Lester Stillwell was recovered 2 days later. Illustrations of his body show ghastly damage, but this was a time when the news could be freely embellished with little repercussions. The narrative continued that one great white shark had killed the previous victims and then swam up Matawan Creek to kill Stillwell and Fisher. Several different photos exist claiming to be a shark that was killed in Raritan Bay that had 15 pounds of human flesh in its stomach. 100 years of research have proved this story to be absurd. Most experts now agree that a bull shark or sharks attacked Stillwell, Fisher, and Dunn. Tattoo Bob says he loves seeing photos of his artwork posted online. His favorite part is that the photos are always accompanied by the story, keeping the history of his town alive. That history once caught the attention of a novelist named Peter Benchley, who wrote a book about a shark that began feeding in an area and wouldn't go away. That book went on to become one of the biggest movies of all time. I don't think I need to tell you the name.